Alright, so let's be real. Keeping plants alive can feel like rocket science if you've ever overwatered a succulent or watched a fern give up on you overnight, but don't worry, today I'm breaking down 17 of the absolute best houseplants for beginners, the ones that can handle a little neglect, bounce back from rookie mistakes, and still look awesome sitting on your shelf, desk, or windowsill. Think of this as your crash course in hard-to-kill greenery that'll make your space feel alive without turning you into a full-time plant nurse. These are the plants that don't need babysitting, don't demand fancy soil mixes, and definitely won't hold a grudge if you forget to water them once in a while. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which plants to grab so your home feels lush without all the stress. Let's dive in and get your plant game started the easy way. First up is the Philodendron Pink Princess, a plant that turns heads with its dark green leaves splashed in pink, almost like an artist went rogue with a paintbrush. It's become an Instagram celebrity for a reason. It's striking, but surprisingly easy to care for. Bright, indirect light helps the pink pop, but it'll still grow steadily in average indoor lighting without throwing tantrums. Watering couldn't be simpler. Just let the top 2 inches of soil dry out, then give it a good drink. Too much water is really the only rookie mistake to avoid. This plant doesn't demand a lot of food either. A balanced fertilizer once a month in spring and summer keeps it thriving. Fun fact: philodendrons can live for decades and, indoors, they can climb up to 6 feet tall. Add in the bonus that they help purify the air, and you've got a gorgeous, long-lasting plant that looks fancy but stays forgiving for beginners. Next up is the Strelitzia Nicolai Variegata, also known as the giant white bird of paradise, and this one brings serious tropical drama into any room. Those huge banana-like leaves splashed with creamy white variegation make it look like something straight out of a luxury resort. Despite its exotic vibe, it's actually beginner-friendly. Give it bright, indirect light and it'll reward you with steady growth, and it can even handle a bit of direct sun without complaint. Watering is easy too. Just let the soil dry out halfway before giving it a deep soak. Indoors, it can grow to about 6 or 7 feet tall, so it's perfect if you want a statement plant without endless fuss. Fun fact: in its natural form, this plant can soar up to 20 feet outdoors, but inside it stays much more manageable. With its bold size, forgiving nature, and striking variegation, it's a plant that instantly makes your home feel like a modern greenhouse while still being surprisingly easy to care for. Now let's talk about lavender, a plant that's as easy on the eyes as it is on the nose, filling your home with that calming, spa-like fragrance everyone loves. Beginners adore it because it's tough. This Mediterranean native thrives on a bit of neglect and actually prefers you don't fuss over it. Give it a sunny windowsill with at least 6 hours of direct light, and it'll keep pumping out silvery green foliage and those purple flower spikes. When it comes to watering, less is more. Lavender hates wet feet, so let the soil dry out completely before you give it another drink. Bonus: it does best in sandy, well-draining soil, which is easy to find at any garden center. Indoors, it usually grows about 2 to 3 feet tall, making it a great size for small spaces. And here's a fun fact: lavender has been used for centuries to reduce stress and even improve sleep quality. So not only does it look and smell amazing, but it also doubles as a natural mood booster in your home. The Variegated Monstera is basically the superstar of the houseplant world, famous for those giant split leaves marbled with creamy white patches that look like living art. Even though it looks rare and high maintenance, it's actually pretty chill as long as you give it bright, indirect light to keep that variegation strong. Watering is straightforward. Let the top 2 inches of soil dry out, then water deeply, and it'll stay happy without much drama. Indoors, it can climb to about 8 feet if you give it a moss pole, so it's perfect if you want a statement plant that grows with you. A well-draining potting mix is key, since monsteras hate sitting in soggy soil. Fun fact: the natural holes and splits in monstera leaves are called fenestrations, and scientists think they help the plant capture more sunlight in the wild. This plant has been trending non-stop on social media, and owning one really does feel like having a piece of botanical luxury. For beginners who want something stunning but still forgiving, the Variegated Monstera is hard to beat. Lucky bamboo is one of those plants that looks exotic but is secretly one of the easiest to grow, making it perfect for beginners. Despite the name, it's not a true bamboo. It's actually a type of Dracaena, but its tall green stalks give off that zen vibe people love. You can grow it in water with just a few pebbles for support, or in soil if you prefer, and it adapts well to both setups. It's super low maintenance. Just keep the water fresh every 2 weeks, or water lightly if it's in soil, and it'll thrive. Bright, indirect light is best, though it can tolerate low light, which is why you often see it in offices or shaded corners. Indoors, it usually grows about 2 to 3 feet tall, staying compact enough for desks and tables. Fun fact: in feng shui, lucky bamboo is considered a symbol of prosperity and good fortune, especially when arranged in certain numbers. So with this plant, you're not just adding greenery, you're inviting a little extra luck into your space too. Anthurium Crystallinum is a plant that instantly grabs attention with its big, velvety, heart-shaped leaves traced by bold silver veins that almost look hand-drawn. Despite its fancy appearance, it's not as intimidating as it seems, which makes it a solid choice for beginners ready to try something unique. It loves bright, indirect light, which keeps the leaves lush and vibrant without scorching them. Watering is pretty simple. Keep the soil slightly moist but never soggy, and it'll reward you with steady growth. A chunky, well-draining mix with bark and perlite is ideal, since it mimics the airy conditions it enjoys in the wild. Indoors, it usually grows 2 to 3 feet tall, making it a perfect statement piece without taking over your whole space. Fun fact: this plant is native to Central and South America, where it can live for decades in humid forests. For beginners looking to step up their collection with something that looks rare but stays manageable, the Anthurium Crystallinum is a showpiece that's surprisingly easy to love. Rex Begonia is like the artist of the plant world, rocking wild leaf patterns in shades of silver, purple, green, and even pink, almost like tie-dye on leaves. It may look delicate, but it's actually a great pick for beginners who want something colorful beyond the usual green. This plant does best in bright, indirect light, but it can handle medium light too, so it's flexible for different spots in your home. When it comes to watering, keep the soil slightly moist, but never let it sit soggy. Good drainage is key. It prefers a lightweight, airy soil mix and enjoys a bit of humidity, but it won't complain if your house is on the drier side. Indoors, it usually stays around 12 to 18 inches tall, making it compact and perfect for shelves or tabletops. Fun fact: there are over 500 varieties of Rex Begonia, and each one has its own unique leaf pattern, so no two collections look the same. If you're a beginner wanting a splash of bold color without too much hassle, this plant is a total win. The Jade Plant is a classic beginner's favorite, often called the money plant, because its thick, glossy, coin-shaped leaves are said to bring luck and prosperity. What makes it so easy is its succulent nature. It stores water in its leaves, so even if you forget to water for a while, it won't hold it against you. Bright, indirect light is ideal, but it can also handle a few hours of direct sun, which helps keep its compact shape. Watering is simple. Wait until the soil is completely dry, then give it a good soak, and avoid leaving it in standing water. Jade prefers a sandy, well-draining mix, which is why cactus soil works perfectly. Indoors, it usually grows 2 to 3 feet tall, but with time and care, it can live for decades and grow into a small tree. Fun fact: some jade plants have been passed down through families for generations, living over 70 years. If you're after a plant that's almost indestructible and carries a little good fortune, the jade plant is a must-have for beginners. The snake plant, also known as mother-in-law's tongue, is hands down one of the toughest houseplants you can own, which makes it a dream for beginners. Its tall, sword-like leaves with striking green patterns give it a modern, sculptural look that fits any space. This plant can handle almost any light condition, from bright, indirect sun to low-light corners, so it's nearly impossible to mess up placement. Watering is minimal. Just let the soil dry out completely between drinks, and it'll thrive with very little effort. Since it's a succulent, overwatering is the only real danger, so less is definitely more here. Snake plants usually grow 2 to 4 feet tall indoors, adding height without spreading out too much. Fun fact: NASA's air quality study found snake plants excel at removing toxins like formaldehyde and benzene from the air. If you want a plant that looks sleek, cleans your space, and survives just about anything, the snake plant is the ultimate beginner-friendly pick. Philodendron Tortum is a plant that looks like it came straight out of the tropics, with its thin, skeleton-like leaves that almost resemble palm fronds. Even though it looks rare and exotic, it's actually very beginner-friendly and forgiving. It thrives in bright, indirect light but can also handle medium light without slowing down too much. Watering is easy. Just let the top inch of soil dry out before giving it a drink, and it'll keep pushing out fresh, funky leaves. A chunky, well-draining mix is perfect, since this plant doesn't like sitting in soggy soil. Indoors, it usually grows about 3 to 6 feet tall, so it makes an eye-catching floor plant without being overwhelming. Fun fact: the unique leaf shape helps it capture more light and airflow in its natural rainforest habitat. For beginners who want something a little unusual yet easy to manage, the Philodendron Tortum delivers all the drama without all the stress. The rubber plant is a total classic, loved for its big, glossy leaves that can range from deep green to burgundy, giving any room a bold, modern vibe. Beginners love it because it's tough yet adaptable. It grows well in bright, indirect light, but it can handle medium light if that's what you've got. Watering is low effort. Let the top couple of inches of soil dry out before watering again, and you'll keep it happy without much guesswork. It thrives in well-draining soil and doesn't mind the average home's humidity levels. Indoors, rubber plants can reach 6 to 8 feet tall, making them a great option if you're after a dramatic floor plant. Fun fact: in its native tropical habitat, these giants can soar up to 100 feet tall, so yours is basically a mini version of a jungle tree. They're also known to improve indoor air quality, which is a nice bonus for any living space. If you're ready for a hardy, stylish plant that makes a big statement without the drama, the rubber plant is a winner. Adenium, better known as the desert rose, is a plant that looks like living sculpture with its swollen trunk, twisted branches, and bursts of bright pink or red flowers. Despite its exotic look, it's actually pretty easy for beginners, as long as you treat it like the succulent it is. It thrives in bright, direct sunlight, so a sunny windowsill is perfect, and it loves warm conditions. Watering is simple. Give it a deep soak, then let the soil dry out completely before the next round. A sandy, cactus-style mix works best, keeping the roots happy and preventing rot. Indoors, it usually grows 2 to 4 feet tall, compact enough to be a striking centerpiece without taking over. Fun fact: in some cultures, Adenium is considered a symbol of prosperity and resilience thanks to its ability to thrive in harsh conditions. If you want a plant that doubles as both an easy-care succulent and a flowering showstopper, the desert rose delivers in style. Peonies are the drama queens of the plant world, famous for their giant, ruffled blooms that look like something straight out of a wedding bouquet. While they're usually grown outdoors, beginners can enjoy them indoors too if they get plenty of bright, direct sunlight. These plants love a cool environment and need at least 6 hours of sun daily to push out those jaw-dropping flowers. Watering is pretty straightforward. Keep the soil evenly moist during growing season, but let it dry slightly between waterings to avoid soggy roots. They prefer a rich, well-draining soil, and a little fertilizer in spring helps them perform at their best. Indoors, peonies usually stay more compact, around 2 to 3 feet tall, but the flowers can still get impressively large. Fun fact: peony plants can live for decades, some even over 100 years, making them one of the longest living ornamentals. If you're looking for a plant that rewards a little care with an over-the-top floral show, the peony is worth the effort. Orchids have a reputation for being fussy, but the truth is many varieties, especially the popular Phalaenopsis, are surprisingly beginner-friendly. Their elegant arching stems covered in long-lasting blooms instantly add a touch of sophistication to any space. They thrive in bright, indirect light and do best near an east or south-facing window. Watering is simple. Just soak the roots once a week and let them dry out before watering again, since orchids hate sitting in soggy conditions. They prefer a loose orchid bark mix instead of soil, which keeps the roots aerated and healthy. Indoors, most orchids stay between 1 and 3 feet tall, making them compact but eye-catching. Fun fact: some orchid flowers can last up to 3 months, far longer than your average houseplant bloom. If you want a plant that feels fancy but doesn't demand constant attention, orchids are a perfect entry point into flowering houseplants. The money tree is a beginner favorite, instantly recognizable with its braided trunk and bright green, hand-shaped leaves that give off a cheerful, tropical vibe. It's believed to bring good luck and financial prosperity, which is why you'll often see it in homes and offices. Care is super easy. It thrives in bright, indirect light but can also adapt to medium light without much trouble. Watering is low maintenance. Just let the top 2 to 3 inches of soil dry out before giving it a drink, and avoid letting it sit in standing water. A well-draining soil mix keeps it happiest, and it's fine with normal indoor humidity levels. Indoors, money trees usually grow 4 to 6 feet tall, though in nature they can reach over 60 feet. Fun fact: NASA's air purifying study also highlighted this plant for its ability to filter toxins from the air. If you're looking for a plant that's symbolic, good-looking, and forgiving, the money tree is a beginner's dream. Cordyline is a vibrant houseplant that adds instant color with its bold, sword-shaped leaves in shades of pink, red, green, or even purple. Beginners love it because it's hardy and adapts well to indoor conditions while still looking like a tropical showpiece. It thrives in bright, indirect light but can tolerate medium light, though the colors stay brighter with more sun. Watering is straightforward. Keep the soil slightly moist but never soggy, and let the top inch dry out before watering again. It prefers a well-draining potting mix and appreciates a little extra humidity, but it won't sulk in average household air. Indoors, Cordylines usually grow 3 to 4 feet tall, making them the perfect medium-sized statement plant. Fun fact: in Hawaiian culture, cordyline plants are considered symbols of good luck and protection. If you're looking for a beginner-friendly plant that doubles as living decor with vibrant colors, cordyline delivers both beauty and ease. The pitcher plant is one of the coolest houseplants you can grow, known for its unusual tubular leaves that act as natural bug traps. It's a carnivorous plant, which means instead of complaining about pests, it actually snacks on them, a win-win for beginners. Despite its exotic vibe, it's not that tricky to care for if you give it bright, indirect light and a little extra humidity. Watering is unique. It prefers distilled or rainwater instead of tap, and the soil should stay consistently moist. A mix of sphagnum moss and perlite works best since it mimics its natural bog environment. Indoors, pitcher plants usually grow around 1 to 2 feet tall, compact enough to fit on a windowsill but still striking. Fun fact: there are over 100 species of pitcher plants, and some in the wild can even capture small frogs or lizards. If you want a plant that's as much a conversation starter as it is beginner-friendly, the pitcher plant is definitely one to try. And that wraps up our list of the best beginner-friendly houseplants: easy, forgiving, and guaranteed to bring some life into your space. If you found a favorite, drop it in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a fellow plant lover. Until next time, happy growing!